Sorry, it's been a few months, but crazy shit has been happening, and now next week is the anniversary of the worst week of my life, and I wanted to talk about it. So, I think I'll go into what happened uh, next week. 9 years ago. I believe it was 9 years ago. I don't remember exactly. But so let's see. It was a Sunday, and um I believe it was November 17th, and it was a Sunday. And I was gonna go to church, and I did not. When I tried to wake up, I could not really wake up, so I told my grandma, who took me to church, that I wasn't gonna go. And I heard my roommate and her boyfriend running and like screaming at each other, and just like a lot of shit happened, and then suddenly there was no noise. And so it took me a while to get up still, because I was just like, I do not want to be in the middle of that whatsoever. I want to make sure I am not part of this, because it sounded horrible. So, ah. So they were gone, I guess, and I went, I did a few things, and then I was hanging out with this guy that I had met a few days prior, and we made it back to the house, and we were watching Scott Pilgrim. And then my roommate's boyfriend comes out of the room, and he asks if he can use my phone because he smashed his on the ground earlier. And I hesitantly do it, but I still do it. And he calls his mom, says he downed a whole thing of gabapentin, which is a muscle relaxer. And he'd been sleeping all day. And then he said, "No, I'm fine, Mom. Don't worry about me. Like, leave me alone." Then he gave me back my phone. Then my roommate called him from my phone and said, "Hey, can you hand your phone to Ryan?" And I said, "Oh, sure, okay." And he was talking to her, hear a knock at the door. It's his mom. And I'm like, "Oh, hi, okay." And she just goes in, she says, "Hi, Ryan, it's your mom. I'm just checking on you." And he says, "What the fuck, Mom? Get the fuck out of my room. Get the fuck out of my house." And so she sits next to myself and this person I had known for 3 days, give or take. And I paused the movie because I didn't think that things were going to go well. So, she says, "Oh, you can keep playing the movie." And I'm like, "No, I feel like some shit is about to go down, so I'm gonna keep it paused." She says, "Okay." Then she asks us if she should call an ambulance because he had downed a whole thing of gabapentin. And I was like, "Honestly, yes." And in my mind, I'm like, "You're his mom. You should know whether or not you should call the hospital or anyone." Like, I don't know. That's my opinion. So she calls. He comes out of his room, aggressively gets in her face and says, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like, getting closer and closer. while he's on the phone with my roommate. And she says, at first she lies. She's like, I'm talking to my friend Cheryl. He's like, okay, give me the phone. Let me talk to her. And she's like, no. And then she says, I'm calling an ambulance because I am worried about you. And he says, no, Mom, you can't do that. I'm a fugitive. He runs back in his room. He brings out this long knife. And like takes it out aggressively and waves it in her face, and she says, you are not going to use that on me. And he puts it back, runs back in his room, and then runs out, puts his shoes on, and then runs out of the apartment, then runs right back in because the police are right there. So he throws the knife, and it goes between his mom and I. The knife is in the sheath, then it comes out as he threw it. And it got under his mom's eye. She couldn't see for a while. And like it goes right between us and hits the wall behind me. And then we like put our hands up, ask if we can like get out of the house until he's detained and everything. And I feel like he was saying things, but I don't remember what he was saying. It was a high stress situation, as you can imagine. We go into this guy's car that I had known for 3 days, and then she gets in the ambulance, and he is detained saying, fuck you, bitch, to him a bunch of times. To his mom, yelling it across the parking lot, I guess. And yeah, she goes in the ambulance. I go up to the apartment, write a statement, and then once the police leave, I cry on my friend. And I'm like, you never have to talk to me again, but please stay. I need someone here. I do not feel safe without having someone here. So he stays. That's when I found out that I really do snore. And apparently it got worse, but that's not the point of this story. I invite my mom over to tell her all of what happened. Then she gets me food. Then I find out a week later that my ferret died around the same time. And 2 days after that, actually, I find out that one of my favorite people in the entire world died. Because he had a brain aneurysm. He had two. One, one in Nevada, they were like, he and a mutual friend were in Vegas, I believe, and he just fell and he had a brain aneurysm. He was not okay, but he was okay after that. And then he had another one, and he wasn't okay. He wasn't able to talk or anything. He wasn't himself. And at the time, I was mad at myself for not going to the hospital, but now that I'm older and I've thought about it, I've healed from it a little bit, a lot actually. He wouldn't have wanted me to see him like that. So the last time I saw him is how he would have wanted me to see him. So I'm glad that I didn't see him in the hospital. Now, about a week or two after that, one of our mutual friends asked if I wanted to have dinner, and I suggested one of his favorite places to eat and get drinks. And she told me that his husband had been beating him, like pretty much the entire 10 years that they had been together. He just like beat him. And the one time that my friend fought back was the time that this asshole abuser called the cops on him, and he like fell and hit his head in jail. So with that evidence and the fact that Thane never said that he was being beaten all the time by this asshole, they would have blamed him falling in jail. Because brain aneurysms can happen regardless of anything, but they could have pinned it on that instead of the fact that he was being beaten all the time by his partner. So, yeah, finding that out a week or two later made it like he died again, and more brutally. So, yeah, that was the worst week of my life. And then at the funeral for him, the partner it was a beautiful funeral. I did get mad because Thane loved taking care of the property. He loved gardening a lot. And so Jack made it like he made a little garden for the funeral. And like there were pictures of Thane throughout his life. It was really beautiful. But I could not escape the fact that Jack was the reason that my friend was dead. My favorite person in the world was dead. I cried a lot, of course, at the funeral, and it sucked that I had to work that day. They were like, nope, sucks to be you, you gotta work. I'm like, okay, I'll try to make it there by this time after the funeral. I didn't get to see, I believe they cremated him. But before that, they cremated him, and their send off was going to be with ladybugs, and that was going to be really cute. Didn't get to see that part, but I cried with people. I talked to his dad. But at one point, one of his sisters said when he was a kid, he pulled her aside and was like, I have been practicing singing and I want to know what you think. And she chose a song. I think it was Neil Diamond did a version of I Dreamed a Dream. And she showed that. And it ends with life can't kill the dream I dreamed, where the original is life has killed the dream I dreamed. And she said that he would come back as a yellow butterfly. So anytime I see a yellow butterfly, it signifies something for me. Usually, it seems to mean that I'm doing a good job. Otherwise, it means like, I am here. I know you're going through a difficult time, and I am here for you. So yeah, I have a tattoo says life can't kill the dream I dreamed with the yellow butterfly in honor of him. But yeah, I saw him crying. I saw Jack crying, and I wanted to punch him in the face. So